Luca Nation, welcome back. I'm here in Las Vegas, gearing up for Mint Collective. Cage is one day away from flying out. He's tying up some loose ends, doing what he does, being the big boss on Long Island that he is. So
By the
welcome
way,
back, Luca.
that's a good thing. It's a good topic, right? I mean,
You being a boss, yeah.
Before you leave, I'm going to try to sit like this. Andrew's very good at sending me like video clips of what he thinks is like a really good moment of the show, and it's like, hey, you should post this to your page. This was a great point you made, or a whole deal. But I find that the clips are kind of like this. So I need to be more center massed. I need to be over here. Otherwise, I'm talking like this, and you're seeing, it's my good half. That's good. It's my good side. So I'm gonna have to sit a little more like this, one of these kind of things. But the topic that you raise, it's a good one, right? I mean, you just went through it. Yesterday's episode with Black Shaded Wolf, we kind of went through it also, and how she prepares for a show like this as a dealer. But this episode is going out Thursday, and a lot of people are leaving to come to Mint, either local or whatever it is, where they're flying out Thursday or Friday. Anxiety leading up to the show for whatever reason. I'm going to forget something. What should I bring? What shouldn't I bring? Should I bring cards? Should I bring a whole bunch of cash? What am I looking to accomplish at the show? If I'm someone who's in the business or in the industry, should I have set up that meeting with this person? Do I bring cards to grade with PSA on site? What's that big Beckett announcement going to be? There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes in there, and what winds up happening? I have all that in my brain. I forget to pack underwear. So it's just one of those things, I like that topic. Nice job.
So something I was thinking about on my walk maybe the other day, I was like, what are we even doing here?
She doesn't even go here. You don't even go here.
This isn't even where I parked my car.
No, but
doing? Seriously, what are we doing here? And I thought, I was like, okay, as a podcaster, regardless of if I chose this, I stumbled upon it, we're in the business of selling ideas, right? We're in the business of, when I say selling ideas, there's no cost to them, but the cost is the audience's attention. And what I thought about coming to the show was none of the stuff you mentioned matters, because all that really
definitely matters.
We could talk about that in a bit. I've been going a little bit commando for the last 2-3 years.
Oh, it's Vegas. I know you did tell me that was your plan.
But what really matters is being present, like being where your feet are, not concentrating on the past or the future, and just trying to be where you are. So this one, I didn't have anxiety coming to the show, because all I have to do is show up for our live podcast, 3:30, 4 p.m. on Friday. If you guys want to tune in, we'll be live on YouTube, and do the best job I can getting the most out of our guests and sharing with you guys what's happening. The cards, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's ancillary. Thoughts? Because I think I kind of lost you.
No, listen, it's similar to the post about when LeBron broke the record and there was only one dude who wasn't on his camera phone, trying to record the event for themselves. It was some billionaire who was just watching it and alive and in the moment, right? It's a difficult line to toe, though. I'll be watching the second performance my daughters, play, and I want to be there and watch it and enjoy it and take it in and feel pride and just watch it with my own two eyes. But at the same time, I know I did record some stuff last time, and I've watched it 1,000 times myself with pride. And you like to have those recordings, just for yourself. It's difficult to kind of balance that out. I guess, extrapolating that story out into what we're doing here, sometimes a little bit of preparation for something like this makes it easier to be present, right? And makes your time there better spent, right? Make sure you're RSVPing for the venue you want to go to at night, or making sure that you maybe set up a deal ahead of time with somebody you know is going to be there. I know I've been working on the RSVP list for our cigar event, adding people to that, to try to make that better. Packing cigars, I just want to make sure I don't forget those. There are certain things that you got to do, obviously. Look at you.
I left the cigars at home.
Of course you did. Because you're there, your feet are on the ground, you're present, you're in the moment, and you forgot to prep. This, by the way, guys, didn't talk today. Didn't know that was the case. This is how we arrive at this stuff.
Did you think I was going to bring them?
No, the cigars are one thing. I'm not really that concerned about the cigars. At some point, you do have something you have to deliver for the cigar event. Remember, you have to be Prometheus.
What? What does that mean?
That's fire. Right? He invented fire, or he was shown how to make fire. You're the torch man. You're the
Oh,
pyromaniac.
go get the torches. Okay.
You're gonna get some torches and take
That's
care
on
of
the
that piece.
That's
For us.
that's on the to-do list. Deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure your feet will be on the ground. You'll forget about it, but I will be there to remind you. And I have enough time between when I get there and the event to do it myself if need be.
I usually deliver when
You
I'm
do
asked.
almost always. And even here, you're delivering because I was wondering, should I bring 50 cigars, 75 cigars, or 100 cigars? Now I will lean a higher number because you didn't bring yours, which is fine.
100 stoves?
I mean, the event has 200 people coming. I imagine not everyone's going to smoke a cigar, but I like to be prepared. And the last thing I would want to do is, have somebody who wants to smoke a cigar and I don't have one for them at a cigar event. I think I had 500 at our first one, and we didn't need those. So I still have some. I've been keeping them fresh. I got the Luca Nation NFT cigars from from last time around, Martinez Cigar Company in New York. Good stuff.
Maybe a little shake and bake action. I forgot the cigars, but I brought white sparkle codes.
Nice. That's good. I like that. You can give out some white sparkle codes. That's listen, Panini.
They are hit or miss though, because Panini has provided them for cigar night, but some of them aren't active. So you're kind of in for a bit of a gamble.
You know what?
Every single one?
Every single one has worked.
Oh, wow.
The only issue is whatever one you have that wasn't active, people who do redemptions in the hobby tops, Panini, you name it, should stop using round identifiers. Don't do a 0 or an O in the code, because that's what winds up happening. People think it's a 0. They put in a 0. It's really an O, and it shows up as invalid. Or vice versa. People put in a 0 thinking it's a 0 and it's really an O. You can see the difference. Usually a 0 is a little narrower and, the O is completely round. But that happened to me a couple of times. And then I figured it out. Okay, you got to change that 0 to an O and then it would work. So if I had a little advice there for people, putting redemption codes in, I know it's all computers, but take that round 0 and O out of the equation. Because
something I was thinking about, maybe this was under the influence, but stay with me.
Of what?
They say matter is neither created or lost.
Yes, it's only changed.
But what happens if I throw one of those codes away and they're not used?
I mean, the code's still there. Eventually, it's there.
Or what happens if someone passes away with cash in their pocket?
Okay, the cash is still there. It's going to be in their pocket until somebody takes it out.
I'm not going to go grim because I actually thought about this on the flight and I brought cash with me.
Man. Why?
Dude, when I fly, I really contemplate my death every single time.
I mean, every single time. Switch what you're smoking beforehand. You know what I mean? Like maybe.
You think I'm the only one? Do you not contemplate the plane going down?
I mean, you don't have to be high while you're high. You know what I mean?
You're high. That's so good.
You're definitely doubling down and obviously having a negative impact on you. It's like 2 negatives make a positive, 2 highs are making you negative. So I'd be concerned about it, I guess. But just what do I do on a plane? No, I don't contemplate the plane going down. I contemplate what movies are available for me to watch for free.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't really contemplate it's a metal tube flying through the air.
No, dude, and I'm about to fly, in a few hours, and I don't definitely want to contemplate it, but
I told you it was grim. You pulled this kind of stuff out of me. Let me ask you.
That's not good.
Did you watch the Pelicans Warriors game last night?
I did. Big comeback. Steph is really good. They shouldn't have been in a 20-point hole to begin with, but that's, both those teams are pretty good.
What do you think of Draymond? What do you think of his antics? What do you think of him? What do you think he's going to be viewed as historically? Because I was watching, I'm like, this team only goes as far as Draymond does, as well as he plays, and that's with all of that edginess and is how good they're going to be. Any thoughts?
I think the end justifies the means on him. You know what I mean? That ultimately he's going to be viewed as somebody who won championships, and the rest of it is going to be, just part of his story. And they don't win the championships without him. And you could see it in a game like last night. You could see in the contributions that he's made to the team. Rodman was a comparison you made. I think it's a great one because people will remember Rodman won championships with 2 teams, by the way. Pippen and Jordan both went to different teams and didn't win with a second team. Rodman won a championship with the Pistons and won with the Bulls. He had antics and he was crazy and he said silly things and he did silly things. He still does. I don't see Draymond going full lunatic like Rodman did after his career and even during, but it's a similar comparison, right? I mean, first things first, the total package of Draymond leads to championships.
He's already gone full lunatic, though.
I mean, I haven't seen him wear a wedding dress yet.
Yes, it's not comparable to that, but like punching
I don't see him in Korea
in the face is pretty full lunatic. Going and doing a podcast after that is pretty full lunatic.
I mean, you thought that was just one of those things that happens in the locker room. It was just something that happens in the heat of the moment, between guys going to battle. So
and it does, but like for going full basically body check into Brandon Ingram and then turning around and trash talking, it's just he doesn't get a lot of hobby love. And I'm like, man, okay, so I like where my collection's at, Cage. I really do. I love the cards I brought with me, but I'm like, a Draymond Green collection would be kind of cool. He's a
you better be a fan.
Guy.
You better be a fan.
I am a fan.
Because, if you're a fan of his, then that stuff will, it'll be fine. I don't anticipate that being anything with any true value down the road, even though he has a bunch of championships. Like I could come up with a lot of players that are a similar type of, not the skill set, where nothing specifically jumps off the page at you, but they won a lot of championships. They were a key cog on a championship team. Horace Grant, by the way, and obviously wasn't the same personality and the whole deal, but like Horace Grant was a key part of that team, that third player on that team that did the dirty work, got the rebounds and, but somebody like Horace Grant, nothing on the stat sheet jumped out at you, similar to, to what you get from Draymond. He's that third guy. You need it. You wouldn't have won without it, but I don't think there's ever really going to be, crazy hobby. Think about how little hobby love there is for Dwayne Wade. I mentioned him in my PWCC episode, and the very next day, Sports Card Nonsense did a whole thing about Dwayne Wade. And now I'll say it again. So here you are. You hear from me, then you hear from them here. What's that? I said I think he's undervalued, and I think he's one of those guys that, won some championships, one on his own, one with LeBron, one without LeBron, might have been the alpha on the team where they did win with LeBron. And here's a guy who is a top 50 NBA talent, if not higher. And his cards sell for pennies on the dollar compared to, you compare it to LeBron, obviously they should sell for less than LeBron. LeBron has accomplished more, but here's somebody who is, one of the best of a generation. Like if we were to say, okay, who are the best players to play in the league in the last 20 years? Is he number 2? Like people who were drafted in 2003 till now, right? Durant, him, LeBron. Who else are you putting in that equation? Even if you tell me he's top 5, okay, top 5. People are paying more money now for the number 5 draft pick of this year's draft class, let alone the number 5 player for the last 20 years in the NBA actual success. So to me, that's something that I could see potentially correcting. But I only bring him up because that's something that hasn't corrected. And I'm saying it should. It might not happen. Really, the lesson to be learned there is don't make fetch happen. It's people collect who they collect. They collect the best. They collect the greatest, the ones that are the best. And even if you're top 5, the fan base doesn't really, rally to. So you love Dwayne Wade and you want to have a collection of Dwayne Wade cards. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You love Draymond Green, you want a collection of Draymond Green cards, great. But realize he's not D Wade, and D Wade doesn't even get the love that he should.
The card, a lot of thoughts come to mind on D Wade, because remember we were at the show and we walked around and nobody wanted my D Wade card, not even interest in it. And it was a gold PSA 10. It was like a $300 card.
Numbered out of 10. Yeah.
I think with him, you have to buy the right card. The card that came to mind that I really like, the card that I would probably want to get is, the Topps Contemporary Collection, but the gold series.
Yeah, those are cool.
I love that series. That card is sick.
Yeah, those are cool looking cards. They definitely are. I don't want to go off on tangent with it, but I understand what you're saying with Draymond. And look, the dude could win a championship this year. He can finish with 5, 6, 7 championships. He's going to have championships that that Steph and Clay do. But even Clay, Clay's number 2, right? Go ahead.
I was thinking about this, Cage, because when we say 1, 2, and 3, like that hierarchy depends on what do you mean by 1, 2, or 3? Because I would actually say Draymond is the 1 in the sense that this team will only go as far as Draymond. And that how well he plays on the offensive end, how well he plays on the defensive end, and specifically how locked in he is.
I'm talking about like collectibility, stats, you name it, the whole deal, right? So, I mean, Draymond is great, and he might be the most important player on the team, might be the most valuable to the team. They, and we could have a lengthy conversation about like how far does that team go if you take Draymond out, as opposed to if you take Steph out, as opposed to if you take Clay out, especially when they had Durant there. You know what I mean?
They're so you need all of them. But the thing with Dre is he doesn't have a lot of cards. He's still 2012 Prism, so he has that like a little bit of the set with it. There's a gorgeous black label gold Draymond Green on eBay that I actually messaged the guy about. Just that, when you see a black label 2012 gold Prism, forget the player. You're like, where does this person comp that card? Where would you comp that card?
What do you think? You can't. You can't.
Would you buy it for $10K?
I think there's two of them on eBay.
Two black label?
I don't know. I think there's another gold. I don't know if there's two black label.
There is. One's a BGS 9 with an 8.5 subgrade, and one is literally a black label.
So I would tell you, do me a favor. Maybe you could do this on Card Ladder, or Becca Collects when it comes out. Maybe we can look at it while we're there. But I know if you were to log in and look at Anthony Davis's gold, right? The gold, which is the same kind of thing, right? Rookie year basically for Draymond, rookie year for Anthony Davis. And look at what Anthony Davis's gold sold for like a year ago.
Yep,
right?
I have it right here.
And it was I think it was a 6-figure sale or something close to that. And then it just sold.
PSA recently. 9.
Yeah, go ahead.
$181,000.
$181,000. Go ahead.
March 8th, 2021. A PSA 9, same card, I'm pretty sure, it's just sold for $19,000 in December 15th.
So comping those are very difficult, and obviously different time period in the hobby, different craziness and insanity going on when that Davis sold for $180,000. He also was healthy and winning a championship and post bubble, and who knows what was going to happen to him now. He could be the new leader of the Lakers team that's going to win multiple championships, and that obviously hasn't happened. And he can't stay healthy. But it's 19. Would you pay more or less for a Draymond than an Anthony Davis? This is the way you asked me how I'd comp. I know that card just sold recently, so that's how I would kind of comp it. So what's your answer? Would you pay more or less for Draymond than Davis?
I wouldn't pay 19 for Dre. I'd pay 10. And I was looking at someone's market today, and it was interesting because this opened my eyes. The Kobe Bryant market is down 75% from highs. And some of their best cards, like some of the most, I would say, iconic card, like the Topps 138, are down over 80%, Cage. Upwards of 85%. And it was just such an aha moment that it's almost impossible for any of these guys that are living through the junk wax generation to retain the values that they have. If someone that is as revered as Kobe Bryant, that's also in a pretty iconic set, like 99 chrome, 96 chrome, for his values to be down so much, no one to really be talking about him. It was really an eye opener. So, any final words? I didn't want to kind of do a long episode here today, Cage. Anything that's, before Mint that you want to say to our audience?
Short. I like the Kobe stuff. So are you going to be looking for Kobe stuff at Mint? Or is it something that you look for kind of like, on eBay, somebody liquidating still, you can still buy them, cheap? Because I think really what you're saying there, what I like to hear is, and even talk about Draymond, right? It's, maybe we go in and out of these things, right? It's collecting. Like now you can get back into a Kobe card and not, like when I bought a Kobe card, remember I bought the 40th anniversary, not the chrome, but like the Topps one that looks chrome and doesn't have the greening. And like, all right, well, I'm in this for 10. It just went to 22. What should I do? Yeah, that one. Exactly, that card. And I'm like, all right, well, I held on to it because I like it. All right, well, maybe it's coming down in value. I don't know what it's at now. You know what I mean? It's probably less than
4K.
10. I'm sure it's,
4K.
Yeah, so
4K. The BGS 9.5 is $1,100. That was a $40,000 card in a PSA 10 of Kobe Bryant. These cards gem at like 0.001%.
It's pretty nuts to see the up and the down. And we had I mean, on the DPZ show, we had Deep Value Investor on, and he talked about like a bubble in vintage cards. To me, I think part of what that's based on, if you look at the charts, is that vintage hasn't done yet what modern did. We talked about like leading indicators and lagging indicators, and the difference between the sport car market and real estate and that kind of stuff. Maybe you can talk about like modern versus vintage. And I guess what he's saying is if you look at charts on ultra modern, look at, even like a Kobe card, you have them here and they're, small up like this and then boom, up. And then they've come all the way down. And basically, if you look at like the pre-COVID prices of him and the post-COVID prices, they're kind of matching up now, which means, all right, we're back down to some semblance of normalcy. And, now is a safer time to buy. Whereas the vintage stuff is still up 3, 4, 5x and hasn't come down fully the way that, some of these other cards have. Mike Trout cards have come all the way back down, that kind of stuff. So
here's where I've kind of draw a delineation. So there are cards with like a 50 pop or less, 25 pop or less that are sort of collector cards. We'll put them aside. But for base cards or for cards with just significant pop, and I'm putting the Jordan Fleer in this category as well. What drives those card prices specifically is low interest rates, cheap money, and low credit card debt. And I actually don't think that bubble has burst. I think what we're seeing is credit card debt is skyrocketing. And I'm interested to see, and I think a lot of people are interested to see who watch economy, what will happen with rates the rest of the year. Because if the Fed reverses course, and they mentioned that they might, I do think if rates go from 4 to back to 2%, that's actually a really positive thing for cards.
Okay. Yeah, I think that movement down would be good. It'd be good for a lot of things. I mean, somebody bought a house in my neighborhood.
Would be good for inflation.
About 8 months ago, when the mortgage rates were like 4.5, and they didn't buy it to live in it. They bought it because they were trying to flip it. It was an old house. One of my neighbors, you could see the house. It's like, behind ours. And, Stanley passed away and, the house hadn't had anything done in it since like the 70s. I was thinking about buying it and making it like a 70s Airbnb. It looked like the Brady Bunch's house. The whole thing was the bathrooms are carpeted. You know what I mean? It was weird. I'm telling you, there was a carpet everywhere. It was like they could have, if they would have carpeted the ceilings, if they could have. It was just carpet everywhere. It would look like they hadn't done anything in the place for 50 years. And of course, somebody bought it cheap because a lot of work had to be done. And I could see them in the house at night, like basically flipping it, turning it over, like ripping down everything, dumpsters all over the place, trying to flip a house. And they spent a couple of months on it and put it on the market. The difference is rates are 7 now. People are able to buy less house. So the timing is not so great there. They still got a nice offer on it and the whole deal, so it works out. But I'm sure there are people who didn't, and even though the nice offer, I'm sure they put a lot of money in turning it around. Whereas they could potentially be underwater on it. If the rates come down, people are actually able to get mortgages for more house and cost them the same money in a monthly payment. So
there's two types of underwater. There's realized and unrealized, right? Like there's cards you're sitting on that you're underwater, but you're like, well, I don't have to sell it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Or there's a house that you many of them, right? So there's unrealized losses and gains.
Like half my PC.
There you go. There's realized losses and gains and unrealized losses and gains. I'm interested to see if interest rates reverse course. I actually think we see a supply shock where people are like, now I have to at least use this opportunity to realize my losses.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
And
because
I think we're
like maybe they missed that opportunity last time. And okay, this might be a temporary window and rates go back up. I would have missed my opportunity. So I think you're probably right.
I think what we're going to see here at Mint is very little buying, a little bit of hesitancy, but a lot of demand and a lot of positive tailwinds for the industry. So I think the industry is going full steam ahead. I mean, that Michael Rubin clip got picked up by ESPN. It got posted everywhere.
Yeah.
So cards are becoming synonymous with sports and fandom. Amazing thing. Card prices are much more intertwined with the economy. And I think we're going to be seeing two things. I think we're going to be seeing more first-time buyers entering into the hobby. But I also think we're going to be seeing a difficult economic situation for card prices. And it's really interesting to see how these two factors
see.
tango and dance with each other.
We'll see. I'm just excited to go out to Mint and see, kind of like the energy, right? And see if people are excited and, people are buying, people are trading, it's fun there. So excited. If you're listening to this and you come to Mint, make sure you tap us on the shoulder, say hello. Andrew's a big star. He might not like that, but me, tap me on the shoulder, say hi. Andrew's giving out Panini White Sparkle cards.
At cigar night, not just random. I'm not giving shit for shit. Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll probably go live at like 3:45. It's just going to be like a series of like 15-minute interviews in between the guests. Cage and I will probably like chop and stuff.
Yep.
Tune in. We'll post it on YouTube so you could hit the reminder
Let's try to
button.
have Beckett on. There's a big announcement. Maybe they'll drop it on our YouTube Live.
With nearly 40 years as the most trusted resource for collectors, dating back to the first Beckett magazine in 1984, Beckett has been the brand that bridges generations of the hobby. We're happy to be partnering with Beckett and look forward to keeping you all updated on the big things happening at the company in 2023. Beckett. It's the name you know and the name you can trust.